You have probably seen the clips, people pouring beer on their skin to tan faster. Is this a clever beach hack or a fast track to burns and long-term damage? We are putting the claim on trial with real science from dermatology groups and public health agencies. Here is the plan for today. Ultraviolet basics, whether beer blocks ultraviolet, hidden risks you might not feel right away, safer ways to get color, and a practical beach kit at the end. The World Health Organization and the International Agency for Research on Cancer list ultraviolet radiation as carcinogenic to humans, which means more exposure without real protection increases risk. There is a bonus checklist at the end, so stick around for that. Disclaimer: this video is educational and not medical advice. Let us start by separating hype from reality. The internet promises a fast, deep tan with beer, but dermatology guidance from the American Academy of Dermatology says beer offers no meaningful sun protection factor and that a tan itself signals skin injury. Public health messaging from the World Health Organization frames tanning as the body's damage response, not a wellness boost. Skin specialists also warn that rubbing beer on the skin can dilute or wash off real sunscreen, leaving you exposed. If myth-busting with solid sources is your thing, tap subscribe so you do not miss future evidence-based breakdowns. To understand why this trend backfires, we need to see how different ultraviolet rays affect your skin. Work published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology describes UVA as the deeper penetrating band that accelerates wrinkles, discoloration, and immune changes, while UVB delivers the surface punch that triggers sunburn. Guidance from the World Health Organization makes it clear that both bands contribute to skin cancer. Classification from the International Agency for Research on Cancer places ultraviolet radiation in Group 1 carcinogenic to humans. In plain language, UVA ages and UVB burns, and both harm DNA. With that foundation, let us define what a tan actually represents inside your cells. Dermatology research in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology shows ultraviolet exposure creates DNA lesions called cyclobutane pyrimidine dimers and 6-4 photoproducts. Your skin responds by producing melanin, which darkens the surface to shade damaged cells. Reviews in photochemistry and photobiology connect repeated injury with mutations and features of photoaging. That bronze color is not a badge of health. It is a signal that repair systems are working overtime. With that in mind, the next question is simple. Does beer act like a sunscreen on the skin? Dermatology organizations such as the American Academy of Dermatology explain that protection comes from tested ultraviolet filters applied at a standardized thickness. Beer is mostly water and ethanol, and does not contain approved ultraviolet filters in effective amounts. Expert commentary from dermatologists notes there is no credible evidence that hops, barley, or yeast safely increase melanin enough to shield skin. In real beach conditions, pouring beer can lift or thin out sunscreen you already applied, weakening your defense exactly when the sun is strongest. Some people point to natural oils instead. Let us put those numbers in context. Pharmacognosy Research reports that certain plant oils show small sun protection factors in laboratory tests, often in the range of 2 to 8, and only when spread in thick, uniform layers. Practical guidance from the American Academy of Dermatology adds that real-life use produces thin, patchy films, so the effective protection can drop close to zero. Clinicians also note that shiny skin can reduce surface reflection and feel warmer without meaningfully blocking ultraviolet. Oils can make you look glossy, but glossy is not the same as safe. What about photosensitivity? Do beer ingredients behave like citrus oils that can burn in sunlight? Dermatology literature in the British Journal of Dermatology details how furocoumarins in lime and bergamot can cause phototoxic reactions, sometimes nicknamed margarita dermatitis. Beer ingredients are not listed among common topical phototoxins at the amounts used on skin. Even so, lack of phototoxicity does not equal protection. The American Academy of Dermatology continues to emphasize that beer provides no ultraviolet shield, so the risk of burning remains high. Beyond ingredients, the alcohol itself changes how skin responds in the sun. Studies in the journal Contact Dermatitis show that ethanol dissolves skin lipids and increases transepidermal water loss, meaning the barrier becomes drier and more fragile. Findings presented in the Journal of Dermatological Science describe evaporative cooling that briefly feels refreshing, yet can mask rising heat, encouraging longer exposure before discomfort is noticed. Dermatology guidance from the American Academy of Dermatology warns that a weakened barrier combined with strong ultraviolet accelerates redness, peeling, and irritation. The story does not stop on the surface. Alcohol inside the body shifts risk as well. Epidemiology summarized in JAMA. Dermatology links higher alcohol intake with increased odds of sunburn and with behaviors like staying out longer and skipping sunscreen reapplication. Experimental work highlighted in the Journal of Dermatological Science suggests a biological double hit, where alcohol plus ultraviolet results in greater DNA damage and a weaker melanin response than ultraviolet alone. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also point out that alcohol promotes dehydration and impairs judgment, which undermines hydration and sun safety habits. Add heat to the mix and a new danger emerges. Public health guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention explains that hot sun combined with alcohol raises the likelihood of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. The American Academy of Dermatology notes that severe or blistering sunburns can lead to infection and long-term scarring. Recommendations from the World Health Organization favor shade, protective clothing, and water, not beer on the skin, as the right tools for hot days. While short-term burns are painful, the long-term consequences deserve equal attention. Cancer Control Summaries in CA, a cancer journal for clinicians. Tie melanoma risk to intermittent, intense ultraviolet exposure and blistering burns, especially in youth and young adults. The American Academy of Dermatology describes basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma as more related to cumulative lifetime ultraviolet dose. The International Agency for Research on Cancer. Classification of ultraviolet as carcinogenic underscores why unprotected exposure and tanning trends matter. Even if cancer feels distant, photoaging tends to show up in the mirror much sooner. Work in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology shows that UVA disrupts collagen and elastin, leading to wrinkles, laxity, and uneven tone. Dermatologic surgery estimates that the majority of visible facial aging is driven by sun exposure, rather than time alone. The American Academy of Dermatology has a memorable line: "Tan today, wrinkles tomorrow." If you want more clear, source-based guidance like this, hit subscribe and share this with a friend who loves the beach. Many people still ask about vitamin D, so let us clear that up next. Research summarized in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology explains that UVA mainly darkens pigment while UVB drives vitamin D synthesis. So a deeper tan does not guarantee better vitamin D. Clinical data in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that normal sunscreen use does not wipe out vitamin D levels in real-life settings. The Endocrine Society recommends meeting vitamin D needs through diet and supplements as the safe, reliable route that avoids ultraviolet injury. Families often watch together, so here is why early protection matters. Pediatric studies published in the journal. Pediatrics associate blistering sunburns in childhood and adolescence with higher melanoma risk later in life. The World Health Organization estimates that a significant fraction of lifetime ultraviolet exposure occurs before age 20. The American Academy of Dermatology encourages parents and coaches to model habits: broad-spectrum sunscreen, shade breaks, and sun-protective clothing at games, parks, and beaches. For viewers with deeper skin tones, the plan is still essential, just adjusted. Guidance in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology explains that higher melanin reduces burning but does not eliminate ultraviolet damage or cancer risk. The British Journal of Dermatology reports that hyperpigmentation and melasma can worsen with ultraviolet and visible light. The American Academy of Dermatology recommends tinted, broad-spectrum sunscreens with iron oxides for skin of color to add visible light defense, along with hats, clothing, and shade. If you still want that summer glow, there is a safer route. Formulation reviews in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology describe how dihydroxyacetone and erythrulose react with outer skin proteins to create temporary color without ultraviolet exposure. Consumer safety notes from the Food and Drug Administration remind users that sunless tanners do not provide meaningful ultraviolet protection unless sunscreen is also applied. The American Academy of Dermatology suggests applying your preferred self-tanner for color, then layering broad-spectrum sunscreen and using sun-protective clothing and shade for actual protection. Now let us lock in daily steps that work everywhere. The American Academy of Dermatology recommends broad-spectrum sun protection factor 30 or higher, applied generously, about 1 ounce for the body and a teaspoon for face and neck. The Food and Drug Administration clarifies that no sunscreen is waterproof, so reapply every 2 hours and after swimming or heavy sweating. The World Health Organization advises scheduling outside time away from peak intensity, roughly 10 to 4, wearing ultraviolet protective factor clothing, a wide brim hat, and ultraviolet blocking sunglasses, and seeking shade whenever possible. You may have heard mixed messages online, so here is how to interpret them. Laboratory reports in Pharmacognosy Research show small sun protection factors for certain oils when applied in thick, uniform layers, but everyday application is thin and uneven, which collapses protection. Experimental findings in the Journal of Dermatological Science highlight that evaporative cooling can feel safe while silently increasing exposure time. Analyses in JAMA Dermatology link alcohol with more sunburn, and while adjusting for time outdoors reduces the effect, the overall pattern remains risky. The lesson is simple. Lab thickness, behavior, and real-world conditions matter more than a viral clip. Packing lists from the American Academy of Dermatology start with a broad-spectrum 30-plus sunscreen and an SPF lip balm, and a phone reminder for 2-hour reapplication. The World Health Organization recommends a lightweight ultraviolet protective factor shirt, a wide brim hat, and ultraviolet blocking sunglasses, plus a compact umbrella or canopy for shade. The Food and Drug Administration encourages bringing water. Aim for approximately 1 to 2 liters per person for an afternoon, along with a mineral stick for quick touch-ups on the nose, ears, and shoulders. Keep this kit in your bag all summer so safety becomes automatic. Dermatology groups such as the American Academy of Dermatology, public health bodies like the World Health Organization, and cancer authorities including the International Agency for Research on Cancer align on the core message. Beer as tanning oil provides no real protection and may increase harm. The Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology links ultraviolet to aging, and the Journal of Investigative Dermatology details the DNA injury beneath a tan. What works is straightforward. Get color from self-tanner, and get protection from sunscreen, clothing, shade, and smart timing. This matters because your skin is not just a look. It is your largest organ and your first defense. Protect it today, and it will protect you for decades. Educational reminder. This is not medical advice. For personal guidance, see a licensed professional. Tell us in the comments which sun myth we should test next, and share this with someone who still believes beer doubles as sunscreen.